Okay, welcome to the Lower Southborough Communications Committee meeting of April 15th. Everyone stand for the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, minutes from the March 18th meeting. Any corrections, comments, concerns? Entertain the motion.
Motion to accept.
Harry's. Kevin, thank you. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Everybody opposed? Okay, I did notice that we've got call for public discussion in two different places. Is there a preference as to whether you do it first or last?
We typically do it both times, just in case.
Yeah,
Yeah,
okay,
no charges. I think, for the record, we usually, if anybody has a comment at any point, we
Right.
generally one there, vote, you vote on as well, so it's good.
okay, well. I will open the floor to public comment by anyone. That one, online, anyone at the table? Okay. All right, moving on to recurring items. Grace?
Sure, thank you. Okay, so the township presence at events. As we all know, there hasn't been a Harleysville market or anything of that such since December. The township itself has had a few community events in the past week or so. There was the fish stocking at Dan Roth Park, which was a big hit for the Lions State preschoolers and the Satterton Charter School. So that's where the kids work with the Public Works Department and the Conservation of Department of Conservation and for Boat and Wildlife. And we'll stock the pond with rainbow trout. So that's fun. I got some pictures up on the Instagram and social media. So another thing I'll get up on our communication channels is the township also participated in a stream cleanup. The Perkiomen Watershed Conservancy hosts an annual stream cleanup. It was a great event and they had over 2,000 volunteers, which was a record-breaking number for them. Wow. That was great, and a few of our staff members participated in that during the day. So not really events, but just something I thought I'd share.
Where was that held?
So they have multiple, several hundreds, 200 different locations for volunteers to clean up at the township. This year and the past year, we were at Heckler Plains Farmstead, but there are several. Maybe 30 spots within our own township that they open up for volunteers on that one day. So
Last year, I was behind the Landis, with a group over in Upper Southford.
Yeah, I've volunteered with them for years and it's all the whole Perkiomen watershed, all over.
that's awesome. Yeah.
I've done that in the past, and I'm struggling to think whether I actually saw that event advertised, which leads me to the question not only for that, but for the fish stocking and things like that. What were the communication channels? You mentioned afterwards social media.
So the fish stocking, the event with the kids, that was more of a collaboration. So it's not necessarily a public event, just because there are school children. But we did on our social medias and our constant contact alert residents that the ponds were going to be stocked so that people knew that fish were available to be fished.
I remember seeing, not to interrupt, but I remember seeing that that communication.
Okay, great.
Since we paused, I would say shout out to Public Works. Well, a few years ago, that's something that's always been an event. I just know we used to volunteer as Cub Scouts, we stock beats and all, but there's never really Lower Southford, but a few years ago, our Public Works director so that somebody talked with the schools and it really has been great, unfortunately. That well, this go around, but it is a really neat thing. Just want to throw that shout out there. That's not normally a big thing to do.
But I'm confused, it's not a public event?
No, it's during the day, in the middle of the day, and so it's with the YMCA preschoolers and the Souderton Charter School, so it's almost like a field trip. Could someone in the public go and watch? Yes.
It's, yeah, certainly if they're cutting grass, you know, people can be there to watch and kids can come and watch how they cut it and let them see. It's something that Public Works always tends to do, but this is just something that's open up to this.
This was the stocking event,
Yes.
right? So they've got a bunch of big tanks and the kids like pick out a fish and put it in the lake. And then like a week later, it opens for what mentored youth day is like a week after that.
It was actually before this time around, we were a little bit
Okay.
behind schedule. So yes, typically it's mentored youth and then opening day. So,
And if I can make a comment about mentored youth, my son and I were out there at Briarwood Park, which we always try to do now that we're here. And it was not a good day for catching for whatever reason it was. And guy on the dock next to me is going, did they even stock this thing? And I had to be like, not only did they stock it, there's pictures on Facebook. You go check it, and like the board of supervisors had to do, like, have a little extra money allocated for the fish this year, and it's like, I think. You know, people who show up aren't always overlapping with the people who have that information, but it's like, it's nice to be out there with another dad. I think he was a dad or a grandfather of the kid who was fishing and say like, no, like I saw the fish in the buckets, like they said that they put them in here, so if we work hard enough, we'll get them.
Like Gary, I did see it, but I didn't see that we're moving on to, I didn't see anything regarding the streams, that's just me, you know, well, just throwing it out there, it's not something I noticed.
actually, the reason we did not have, we have had to stream cleanup in the past in our emails. The reason we did not this year was because by the time township staff and myself saw that information, Lower Southford was completely booked up. So I didn't really want to be
Yeah.
pushing it out to residents and then saying, oh, well, go drive half an hour for it, I wanted to keep it a little bit more local, so that was just something we on a staff level kind of agreed that we're booked up, so.
I can let you know next year, because I volunteer with them, so I see it right away, and I can let you know.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. Not that they need our help.
Yeah. But it would be nice to have more
Yeah.
local people here helping out,
I
so.
agree. Thank you.
Mhm.
Okay, as for the newsletter and email updates, one thing that we talked about last time was advertising the voter registration and when you need to vote by, and so there was language in this past email, the past two emails saying that this was a bipartisan vote and all you need to do is be registered. You don't need to be registered with a certain party. I wasn't sure if anyone got to see that.
I thought it was excellent.
I did.
Yeah.
Perfect.
Very clear. Like 3 paragraphs, told you everything you needed to know, and I don't think there'd be any confusion about what people needed to do after that.
Good feedback.
Are you gonna run it again to get
Yeah.
posted?
I think we'll even send out an email by itself, with just voter information as it gets closer. I want to show you guys, and I forgot to, they're in my office, so maybe I'll go grab them, but the printed kiosk signs, so in 5 of our parks, there's kiosks and they're 3 feet long and 2 feet in height. And so we printed these big kiosks that say, welcome to whatever park you're in. And it says, the future of open space is in your hands. Here's what you can do. And there's really like a few sentences and then a big QR code and a map to the right of it that says you are here and this is where it is in relation to the Alabama property. The QR code takes you right to the website that we have, the page that we can make changes to, but has all the FAQ information, the referendum ballot language, and just all the information regarding the open space referendum on May 19th. So it's actually really cool. So I'll definitely try and go grab it But that's another thing that we are doing for, I guess, it open space awareness.
That's great to hear.
So, yeah, I think it's been a while since the kiosks have been updated, and I know the park board has been looking for something like that, so I know that it's definitely timely and well, it has the expiration date on it, so we'll have to redo them as soon as the referendum has passed. Knock on wood. So yeah, just another cool thing that we've done.
The website looks great, by the way, someone's looking at it, somebody recently reached out to me, and as I was gonna talk more about later, we can put the signs people seeing, so somebody's asking me. As I was going to give them the link, I was reading more about it, I saw the update, and it looks good, I think it's great, it touches on a lot of things that can be discussed, and a lot of common questions I heard, so. Great job on keeping that updated for me, I just sent people it.
Yeah,
I've been doing the same because a lot of my friends, I've been talking to them about it, like, did you know this? And because when I first started here, I didn't know that it was not a done deal, and a lot of my friends were the same way, so I've been kind of pushing them towards the website too, so I think it's great.
awesome. All good news. As for website and social media, I think I mentioned that. We hired a new person on the township level who will start at the end of this month. And she's definitely a social media guru, so I think we'll be really excited to have her, maybe someone that can dedicate a little bit more time, because I think that was kind of the idea when I stepped in, but as things do, it kind of just got pushed to the back burner, so I hope that in the future she'll be here and that she'll get to be a little bit more creative, with all that.
Now you're the grant master.
She'll be learning that stuff too, so. But I didn't realize how time consuming that would be, all the grants, so. I guess I already touched on the open space awareness.
Lisa, I have a question, like, so you remember from the last meeting, there was accessibility deadline or something in April
Yeah.
for the website?
That was for townships over 50,000 residents, and so since we're under that, then we have an extra year to meet those deadlines. So again,
Understood.
yeah, no problem, I think that will be a job for our new hire.
And this is the ADA Title II stuff, right? So,
Level.
yeah, I dug in a little bit because I hadn't understood that it did come down like from Justice through Pennsylvania down to the local level. So this is basically like ADA Title II for website accessibility being pushed down, and then the deadline was last month, right? So then, like the bigger sites, the state sites all have to be compliant with what's called WCAG, which is a web standards compliance, and it has stuff like if you mouse over something and you have a screen reader on, it'll describe like the button that you're over in a way that describes the thing rather than necessarily just text. And there's a whole bunch of other elements that go along with that. So, anything you're doing in that respect makes it a lot easier for people who are having trouble with websites and just computers in general, or vision problems or hearing problems, or you name it.
That's great. Is there a definitive deadline for any other townships or these boroughs that are under a certain amount yet? I know you said next year, I think I remember seeing 27.
Yeah, it is the same date. But
So
just
they are
a
going to
year.
apply for us then, it's not like for this, okay.
Certainly.
Thanks.
You guys wouldn't mind, I'm just gonna go run and grab that poster, because I think you would all really like to see it.
Oh.
I'm sorry, this was bad timing.
Okay, to give a quick update on the space, and how many wants to go on that space, just, I think, just by looking at the minutes, I just want to tell this. It's great, just kind of guiding the township, for that matter, I really like, I really like this layout that we've been doing here as well, it kind of seems to be more efficient. At the last open space, meeting, wasn't really a meeting, it was more to get together, you've been seeing signs popping up. The object is to get the signs out there. There's also going to be an opportunity for election day volunteers to sign up Genius. The point that this committee or people volunteer, like each committee, it's really more people who are getting together to do this, I should say. It's not as political, there's people from all across the aisle. We just want to do exactly what we were saying that we're trying to do, what the town is doing, let people know, and we'll see how people vote. But that's the update on that I have. I don't want to go too much on it as well. Raise it very quick right now. Another thing that, yeah, because if anybody is interested in signs, I'm sure we'll get some to you, but we're just trying to spread the word and get everybody's opinions so that everybody fully understands what we're doing. So, well, that is a big sign.
Sorry to shove this in your face, but this is what we got. So it's a little different from park to park.
That's
Ding.
great.
Now you gotta ban a white for the camera.
It's big enough.
Yeah, so it is bigger than I thought it would be, but I think the text gets, the point across. QR code is big enough.
That's definitely an attention grabber as well. I think that's probably one of the best ways to advertise this that I've seen yet. Honestly, it's gonna be, that would grab my attention. I was just looking at kiosk stuff, nice weather,
Yeah.
looking at it recently, so it's great.
It was actually
Good.
Jenna Kraus, Kent Kraus, one of our supervisor's daughter, she works in graphic design, and we had designed this, and then she was like, well, you're missing a call to action, so this didn't exist before her, so kudos to this whole thing here, so. Absolutely. So that's an update.
So I actually had, in looking through the FAQ pages and I guess where this link takes you, I know that there was some late discussion about a piece of the property that was right of first refusal for Hennings, but I don't think any of the maps or anything that shows it actually shows where that piece got removed from.
Right.
Cause I looked on the date of all of them and it's all plans that were done, I guess, prior to December. And so that's the only thing that I saw that was missing there in terms of like, okay, well, all of this was designed, but then there was a modification to what it's actually gonna be, and we don't actually see that.
Right. Yeah, I haven't myself seen any sort of updated map for. I think it's just about 2 acres that will be cut off in. Okay,
Yeah.
so,
Right now, there are no plans. I mean,
Yeah.
eventually, things will eventually develop, but as I'm aware of, there are no plans set for that, at least when I got.
Do we know like where on the,
Yes,
on the
it's,
map?
I
that
don't
is?
wanna give misinformation, right?
Okay.
But I'm pretty sure it's generally, it is that extra, so if you're looking at the McDonald's area, it's. From looking at Hennings, staring at it would be to the left of that, Hennings is in front of you, it would be to the left. And just a little bit over, there's a road that comes up, that road would be extended just a little bit more, so it's a little extra land right there by that road, but it would just be on the front. Right there, it's almost an extension, there's a natural looking pad. It's called, it's already there, it's open space to the left of that, so it just extends that a little more. And again, I don't wanna, misquote, but it's definitely in that general area, and it's right on the front, it's about 1 or 2.
Yeah, just walking through that and saying like what question would.
No, that's a great point, that's something that we don't see, but generally it would still look like that right now, because there won't be any kind of.
And that's not like a frontage along Main Street, that's parallel to,
It's.
or there is some frontage along.
There would be a
along
little
Main Street.
frontage, but nothing huge, like, and it's just, that's just extends, so if you take just a little bit. It goes all the way back to their building too, just imagine just moving it over a little more.
And then
across
just
the middle. It's
kind
generally
of a straight shot down.
Yeah,
Okay.
it's not much further.
Point of curiosity, and if there would be any way to. Put something like, I don't wanna give anybody any extra work, but I think people are gonna look at what's presented there and then be like, oh, well. That's not the whole picture, once things start getting not built or built.
And all the language is on that, I know it is on there, but I'm not sure exactly how much of the right of refusal was discussed in the FAQ, I know it's discussed at one of the explain supervisory meetings. We were part of that. But
So I'm happy to see that there is language on here that indicates that what we are voting on is a tax increase. Right?
Yeah.
I think the informal language tends to focus more on this as a open space acquisition of that particular property, right? And the language is not. The language is an open-ended, we can pretty much use this for anything, right, tax increase. Right, there's nothing in the language that says, well, when we pay off this property, the tax goes away.
No, but it does say that it needs to continue to be used for the purposes of
But
open
it's,
space
but,
maintenance.
but.
Yes, but it doesn't.
You're
go-
with that, you're gonna put that in the same-
It's not specifically for this property, right, which I think is the impression that too many people have.
Yeah.
Right?
The ballot itself does explicitly say for the purchase of open space properties, I believe it's such as y'all
I'm
properties.
sure the ballot has to say that, and I'm glad to see that it's, you know, it's on here also. Right? It's just not what people hear. And I think it's not the majority of people that are gonna read all the details of the ballot. I think if this was, I think if this was presented as, hey, you're voting for a tax increase. And end of story, you're voting for a tax increase, do you want the tax to be increased by, what, a quarter of a percent, right? That would get a different reaction, right?
Gentlemen,
And it's, and I think it's misleading to position it as a vote for the acquisition of that specific property. So anyway, I do not want to make this committee meeting into a debate on that. I've already said that I seem to be the outlier in terms of whether for or against it.
if I may.
But I am happy to see that, you know, the language is there, you know, for people to see, so. thank
If
you.
I may, I do
Yeah,
agree with.
I'll move on.
Very.
Okay. Grace, anything else?
Nothing else for me to report.
Any questions, comments for Grace?
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. All right, let's see, the resident request portal maintenance is that separate from the overall website maintenance?
Yes, it is separate. The resident request is a Esri-based ArcGIS interface, so, and it is still down. It's not down because it was broken, it's just that they're making some updates to it. So that platform is still currently unavailable. Luckily, people find their way to us via the phone or email. So
Any market date, any?
I have not heard.
Curiously, is there more calls and more requests? Are you seeing because that's down, or is it, which would indicate that people can't use that? So you're saying it was used.
It was used pretty regularly. Our phones are ringing all day, so I'm not always able to screen what types of phone calls they are. So I couldn't answer that. I don't think that they're ringing more frequently though.
I guess I was just asking, wondering if people are aware and finding out. General.
Is there any way that that message can direct folks back to the phone number instead of just saying, sorry, this service isn't available?
I'm not sure.
Because this is so generic.
Yeah,
This is like, you know, hit the brakes, you've stopped in your tracks.
right. That would probably be something that I could talk to those at Tracer about, if they can update that and just link our,
It goes to that message. Good point.
so. I might do that.
Especially since you run across a message like this, you don't expect them to be there for
Right,
weeks.
Yeah, I would see this as like a 1 day,
Right.
or even hours message.
Hours, yeah.
It, well, you know, and if it is done, those can even say, well, you know, our township is, you know, waiting for the service to be corrected, then I put more pressure on them, like, everybody knows it's not us. But just in general, it's a win-win, you know, it serves people out on top of it.
And also by putting in phone, sorry, by putting in phone number says that we're interested in your concern is, whereas right now, I would think, oh, they don't really care.
yeah.
I think that is the most important thing, that all of us decide that,
But if I saw this, I would at least expect the next day for it to be.
refresh in a couple hours.
Yeah, right.
And I mean, I'm very similar to Terry's point, but some either redirect to where they can get to the contact information or the contact information. Actually here, this is gonna be static.
Right.
Something along those lines. especially if it's gonna be for a while yet.
And it's possible being an Esri product that this is just a checkbox called maintenance and they don't have any control over it, but who knows?
Someone might be able to do something, so I'll see if we can get a township phone number there.
Any other comments in terms of the resident request for? Resident survey update, we had agreed that it's gonna run now through June 30th. Gonna be in the May newsletter.
Yep, it's already put in for the May 1st constant contact, as well as the newsletter, which we don't have complete control over when it gets to your house, the printed version, but hopefully in the first week of May.
Soon, it's back on the website too.
Yep.
That's. I look forward to seeing those results. I think that help us out a lot in our direction to move forward. This last one really generated a lot of checks, marks that we got done.
Yeah, and it kind of leads into the next topic, so.
Yeah.
Okay, so anything else in terms of the survey? So more or less, I don't think it's out there yet. I mean, technically it's available, but you know, your forms are out there available, but you will come directly into it. Questions, comments, survey? Okay, so communication tools, this is the list we had. Probably 2 years ago. And they're in no particular order. But I did push to the top what I thought were the channels that somebody needs to sign up for, the public needs to do something to get communication through those channels. Right? Some of the ones that they lower down, they have no control over. Right? But they're all various communication channels, right? And as I tend to say often, right, on any of these topics, we ought to be saying, okay, are we using the right communication channel? You know, for instance, in advertising the survey, like, you know, can we use which of these communication channels is most appropriate, which one, you know, will drive the most traffic there, things like that. So we ought to constantly be thinking about, you know, all of these communication channels and how they're being used. But I thought it'd be appropriate, as I said, but I don't think we looked at this in a while, to go through and essentially update it. And make sure that contact information is correct, that nature. And then, you know, have the discussion in terms of what can we do for the channels like the website or the email, the constant contact, or the text messaging. And what can we do, possibly using other communication channels that are on here to make people aware. This whole topic started because it seems like anytime somebody comes in here and states and we ask questions, they haven't heard of, they don't know about the text messaging, they don't know about it. Yeah, it's a gap.
Yeah.
So anyway, we kind of introduced this last month and put it as new business this month, but that's my thoughts.
I mean, the immediate change that's required, not really change, but additions in terms of social media, we have more than just Facebook.
I was thinking the same thing, and it'll continue to evolve as we have a member of township as well.
So that doesn't help with the gap, there's even more to inform about. Another way of putting it, we have a few more channels here. Because we do what, Facebook, Instagram.
In terms of like social media,
Yeah, more, just sticking to socials.
I think just those two.
Yeah,
really.
just those two.
You know,
Facebook Police, Facebook Township. There are two Facebooks there. This one looks like it was when it was just the police.
Yes,
At
I agree.
Facebook.
I'm not really a big social media user, but I do have for my businesses, and in the beginning, I used to use, oh, there's a new one, but it gets overwhelming. It's harder to do, you know, I understand the township perspective, but I would say, just for my comments, I would think generally, if I'm Googling business or something, oftentimes, even without having Facebook, you can still read the business things on Facebook, get the information, especially the town, so I think just from somebody who doesn't use it as often, those two are standards that you can still find and searchable to get. And and just to add, as I said, I agree with you, and I'm curious to see how that evolves in the township. I think that's something cool that we'll see with new perspectives. John, great job putting these together too. It's great to see all these.
Oh, this looks.
At least 2 years old.
So I see a couple of things here. First of all, Grace just said there's 5 kiosks now. So we have 2 additional kiosks that would go on here with the park board. Posts and emails from the website are when articles get posted in addition to anything that comes through Constant Contact. Which part?
The last part was,
So on the website, what people subscribe to when they hit that modal box when you first arrive is actually a notification that a page has been updated on the web, like a new page has been created on the Lower Salford website. It is not the same thing as the Constant Contact. But that's all. I mean, if people are signing up for that, then the avenue of not just being on the website, but of having been posted in some period of time. So something that gets posted on a Tuesday gets distributed via email on a Tuesday, on that Tuesday, to people who are subscribed to that. And that's
kind of turns the website into a little bit of a push.
a bit of a push communication, right? And I know I get them regularly. Sometimes I get 1 or 2 corrections. So if something gets posted and then there's an update, we'll see that too. And that's independent from the normal cadence of something like the Constant Contact.
But that's only if you're subscribed.
That's only if you signed up on that page and didn't think that it was Constant Contact or vice versa. I think there may be a little bit of, and Grace is never gonna see it again, right? If you've been on today or.
just pops up anyway, it's a little bit annoying, but. I think in a few seconds, it might pop up. Maybe if I
Do
do.
you, did you go in that,
Do a
in
private
that
stuff.
incognito? Yeah, there you
Or something, all the time.
Characters. Once you sign up here, it'll bring you into a system that allows you to either select updates for the whole website that you've received, or if you're only interested in police matters, then you'll only get an email when the police updates their page, or like news, or if you want to see every agenda and every minute that comes through, you can also get that.
Oh, see, I learned something new tonight. I did not know about that. I thought that was signing me up for the Constant Contact that I already received. I did not know that that was tied to all of them. So I'll let my friends know.
We should let your friends.
Yeah.
The point here is,
Well,
and maybe as we go, maybe each month we take another one and say, what can we do
Yeah.
to
Mhm.
promote this particular one this month or for the next 2 months or something?
Mhm.
But I mean,
Yeah.
we should be figuring out
Yeah.
how to make your let your friends know.
Yeah, I was just being silly, but yeah, it definitely, and maybe like tie that, I like that idea of making it like a monthly thing or even seasonal, and maybe tie it into seasonal things that have to do with the website of, you know, you want to know about parks because it's spring and you're getting ready to go outside with your kids, where can you take them? You could have information from the website pushed to you, so things like that.
You want proof that somebody put trout on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote down for future thoughts that I jot things down, so that across them all, since you mentioned that as well. I was thinking, oh wow, I hope people are watching this, so you just click and drag, and I thought, I wrote down video, click tutorial. Really realistically, as I think about this, just cut this video take that clip of seeing a click, put it on Instagram, like a reel or something like that, it just shows you don't need any audio. Click, that's just one way, and just, I was going, full discussion, we did another
Yeah.
time, but I realized, oh, we just cut that video, just have it.
That'd be
Yeah.
perfect.
Something like that, and we just write the text and it doesn't just have to be that, then that could be to how much time somebody might have for an idea of, okay, what does it mean to have? Will that help? It's just another idea that I just saw and I'm like, wow, those people are watching.
Mhm.
There you go. That's a great point. I agree with you as well, John, great, doing it that way is great.
Mhm.
Well,
That was not too big, but I mean, one of the things I wanted to bring up was how we make some of these signups as easy as push a button and even if it's a default profile or, you click here, this is what you're getting, and so. Where there's options where you can usually pick different things. Pick some selection. So that a person could sign up for this or text messages or something with one click. They can then go in and modify it later, and you still have all those controls, but how do we make the sign up for some of these things so easy that it's one click?
Yeah, and I'll do one minor counterpoint to that, which is a lot of these systems have in them an abuse portion. So, Facebook doesn't want you to be able to sign up somebody like your page from your page because that opens an abuse vector for them. They want you to come to Facebook, do the thing. This website doesn't want you to just punch in an email address, punch in anybody's email address. You have to give your first name, last name, and you have to confirm an email. So there's obstacles that are inherent in subscribing to social media and constant contact and all these things that, you can't just have like, put your email here and we'll sign you up for 12 things because God knows I need it. So, yeah, but I think we can kind of thread that needle and see what we can do with it.
Do we have like on the web page anywhere where we just link or have links to all of the different things, like all of these things, like so that it's not one-stop shop, like what you're saying, like a one click, but you could have all the communications on one spot so that if you want to sign up for Constant Contact, you want to sign up for Facebook, here's all of them. You can just keep going back. I mean, it's not the same. Is it all? Okay.
I'm expecting these.
Yeah, we did.
Yeah.
Yeah,
We did
yeah.
something similar, well, I guess, I get that's
So this is the
Okay.
president.
For
Got
the
it.
president, would it be worthwhile to say, here are new contacts, as Stacey said, that's another great.
So. I mean, maybe it's worth. Putting this information also somewhere else, because right now it's listed under new resident guide. So if someone's not a new resident, if they've lived here for 20 years but aren't signed up for anything, they may never go to this page, so. I mean, of course, everything's listed, not everything, but what is standard for this kind of web platform is down here.
Is it possible to put up, say, as you said, there's an option, click here on the resident, could we think of as a committee or Grace or anybody else, just another word that we could still get to the same page? And did it say specifically, hey, welcome to Lower South, still works, whether I'm here forever or whatever, I go to a page that says, here's some quick clickable links or quick use or, something like that we could think of, or quick links or click here for X. Is that a possibility, or is that something that we would do without having to change the page at all, as long as it has all the same stuff? You make a great point, somebody might not click that. They live here, so maybe just have two options to click that might just link to the same page, if that makes sense. So everyone's thoughts on that?
I think it's a great idea, I would ask you guys, where do you think that belongs?
What word that be too?
Because
Staying in the know. I mean, isn't that what we're trying to help them to stay in the know of what's going on for all of these different things? So if you want to stay in the know, here are all the different channels that we're communicating through.
Can I see the welcome people or come?
Sure. New resident guide.
We could even put at the top, new parentheses, and the like resident guide, put it right there, that's a win for everybody, or something like that, nature.
Maybe
Doesn't
just,
even have to change anything else, but.
just resident guide.
Yeah, resident guide.
Why did we think of it?
But I still like having the click option for new residents,
Yeah.
and I think it not only brings them to the message from the chair, but it's that, oh, look, they're looking out for me as somebody new here.
Mhm.
And I think that serves well. I don't think as a new resident, if I clicked it, I'm like, oh, this is the same page I looked at. I don't even think I clicked it again, or maybe just think, okay, that makes sense. But looking at what's on there now, does anybody have any idea of the Stacey at Great Point get in the know or?
Well, it says
or-
there.
Yeah, you know,
We've saying no.
that's better, something like
So
that.
we already have it on there.
So this
Would that tell somebody, okay, this is what I'm getting at, or, you know, I can get out of curiosity, I have no problem. What else? That's my suggestion, is that too.
It's still getting people here, right? And do we use some of the other communication channels that we have available to us? Or do we have, maybe not the right words, but a special promotion for these different topics across various months, right? You know, rather than saying, here's everything you need to know, right? You know, we've kind of done that and people still aren't getting the message of trying to be more laser focused, right? Over a longer period of time, say, okay, we're making this up for the next 2 months, right? Every chance we get, we're going to put some kind of message about constant contact, right? Just promote the hell out of it, right? Put it on the billboards, put it on the kiosks, put it everywhere. Just constant contact and just, you know, and then when we kind of exhausted that for 2 months, then go on to something else, right? And see if that helps get better participation.
That's great, Dave. So would one way to do that, be to have like a page that says communication committee updates or, you know, what to know from what's the communication committee wants you to know. If that's something the township would go for, something like that, and you could, you know, we could just put, okay, what exactly what you said, but that could be an idea to do that. It's a great idea. Yeah, awesome. Is that something that possibly the township would be, okay, but we want overcrowd website, but that's something I would click, you know, okay, what's happening now, and keep it that. This is what's important, you know, who knows what kind of thing, especially with the gossip, big news, big things discussed. Still, we heard a lot of this, we heard somebody down here, they said, we don't hear anybody this way, you know, maybe just a little bit of summary of this. Because we're communication.
You know, right now, the focus is on the open space referendum, right? But what comes after that? What's the big copycat that, and then maybe we kind of take advantage of that.
And
Not only that page space, but just that momentum.
excuse me, John, well, if we do something like that, it could be not just our page, but let's say it is something about communication committee, or how communicating with the township, whatever it is. We could have an option of, this is what we're discussing, what ideas do you have, feedback, and that might give us some yield of different information as well. It's a great idea. Please go. That could be a whole other topic in future design.
Before we leave this topic, and if you have more specific to this, please don't let me.
Well, I wanted to, at least tonight, I wanted to make sure that we had this list as up to date as possible. And then talk about, you know, next steps. We take, you know, one meeting and going forward and focus the hell out of it and figure out, you know, how we get better participation from residents. So that the next time somebody comes in, they said, yeah, I'm signed up for text messages and I at least know about, you know, constant contact and.
I think this, even though it's focused on the Alabama property. This, you know, the QR code the size of your head in the park bulletin board is gonna drive people to the site. They're gonna know it exists. They're gonna see it on the phone, like, that is a presentation in a way that I don't think the township has had before. So already, that's a good thing. And if, you know, they show up there from that QR code after, you know, after this, I don't know if people are still gonna how often do we take these down? Are they gonna be up for a month or two? Then it's gonna take them here and they're gonna go, well, this is done. But okay, well, maybe there's a trail map I can download or something like that. So yeah, I absolutely agree with the concept of like, if you post something in the newsletter about the fish stocking and there's pictures, say, go to our Facebook page and look at the pictures. If you post something on Instagram, say, go to our website and find out this, and you're constantly reinforcing that network of everything we got.
Great.
So, but John, to your point, if you wanted to work on this list now.
Yeah.
We've identified at least 1, 2, 3, 4 things. Do we wanna just get more, I mean, at least with the kiosk, we should probably be specific as to location.
Right.
I think the township social, Facebook and township Instagram is probably specific enough. But those, calling out those 2 items, but where are those 2 extra kiosks that are listed?
So.
I don't know, honestly, so.
No, we have Alderfer, Danner and you.
And we don't know about it.
So there's Colt Pond, there's Heckler Plains, oh, thank you. Heckler
Okay.
Plains,
Plains.
Alderfer Park,
That one.
Danners Park.
I got that.
I think it was, Colt, but I got held up because it was Yoder
Yeah.
Road and Colt. Is
So,
that different than the other Colt you were talking about?
yes,
Okay.
and I think that,
That's the quick one in that T.
Yeah.
Your, code goes twice, kind of zigzags on us.
That's.
Radius on us, stack.
and there's also Charles Reed Park, if that's in here.
I would comment, I think with the mobile related sign, I think there are 2 of them as well, which I would comment too, they have done, I seen them a lot on Oak. This is perfect, I said they're advertising this 4-way stop for a week tour, I thought about that, great job on that, just throw that out, but that's another great. That's good.
I don't know how that's going, but those signs were very, very.
They're so effective,
And-
you can't not do.
That intersection's work, I live right there, so that intersection works perfectly.
Yeah, great.
And.
Another question I have on this, just out of curiosity, the golf club, I noticed says 25-hour lead time. Just scares the building.
That's what happens when you drag it down.
We just, that's the biggest part, you gotta make sure they have that extra hour, just in case.
You tell us at 2, it's not gonna be done until 3.
That's that or something like that. Just.
It may be nice at some point, once we finalize this list, to have it presented on our website, just a list, this is the way the township communicates. Just to give people a list like this, because I know for myself, I'll forget, oh, this is another way we do. It'd be nice to have it in one place too.
I think it's worth noting things that we might not have, just maybe an asterisk, just to add to it, that we might not have full control over, as we talked about before, and John mentioned, and Grace mentioned earlier, the newsletter, we don't have full control over, while they do, the township does submit to the newspaper, we can't always guarantee what gets published and what doesn't, or what it does. That's just what I see right here, I think everything else is.
Unless it's an advertisement.
Yeah, that's an advertisement for a meeting, the newspapers are required to do that. But that's something that the township makes sure, whether they do it or not, they make sure they do it, has to be some good point. But any other thing. Yeah. Great. And that's all the comments I have. If we do go online with that too, Terry will just say, obviously, we don't, put up
I
contact.
would just do the
Right,
first
right,
comment.
just the first one, not the contacts.
Exactly.
For anybody watching, generally the contact number is 256-9500, so. Which is the.
That was the police.
Yeah,
Oh, that is the police side, it's this one.
8087.
Okay, so
John, you feel good about this or you?
that, splitting the Facebook into the police site and the township site. We've got Instagram. The 2 additional kiosks are Heckler Plains and the Reed Park.
and
Nicole.
Cole as well, so yeah, they're great. Very good.
And then the website page.
Right, so that would be like the website notifications versus the website as it is a static evolving but static construct that people go to when they are seeking something out.
What one was yours? I had those three I wrote down.
That was all I got.
We replace Holly's name with,
That would probably be appropriate.
okay, anything else? Draft these updates and send it out, in case there's other changes, but
I would just ask Bryce if it was okay to do any other internal changes, names on there, topics.
Well,
You don't have to say it publicly,
Yeah.
but because it's internal, but.
well, yeah, we'll have some, probably that new person I mentioned, we'll have her email address on here. So. Eventually. Her name's Christina.
C or K.
C.
right, anything else in terms of the West communication channels?
Done.
I did have one thing I wanted to talk about, it's super tough, downtown communication rules is just to highlight. The recorder feeds for Montgomery County have recently, and I don't know who's seen this or not, but recently launched a text only. Communication for the office where Montgomery County residents can text in their questions about deeds and the other things that the office handles and get back a text response without a phone call. And I think based on how successful that is for that office. And it seems just from my initial following on their Facebook page that it is, at least people are interested in it. Maybe not necessarily using it, but it might be one of those things that becomes like a default communication channel moving forward. And I just want to put it out there, put it on the record as something we might want to keep our eye on for future communication tools. So two-way text rather than just mock code distribution.
One question, I haven't heard that, but I also want to make a comment, is that like a bot response kind of thing? Because
I don't know. I haven't used it yet.
the reason I ask is, and Terry, you might have been on here when we did this as well, John, I'm not sure, but we did, before we updated the website. Years back, the committee, members of the committee, we found like 2-3 different townships that each one was assigned to that was similar in size. Fiscal and all to our township, called them, asked them, things that were unique. A couple of them had a text message capability, and to the point where we did a demonstration here, we just literally wrote to one township, I told them we're gonna do it here, but we wrote, and I think it was something like, I wanna put a deck on my house, do I need a permit? And it was incredible how much stuff came back. I do have all that stuff, it might never be in here, but if not, I have stuff. Wow, I'd bring that in next time to explore, but I think that was something that, I don't remember if it was something that the website offered itself. And there's different things like Civ Plus, this and that, I know I forget which one, but you have now as well, but. My point is, I was curious if it was a bot, and that was helpful, that we saw, it was interesting, it was. It was fascinating, the guy wanted that, here you go, you'll need this permit, and here's a link on the website to do it, the bot somehow just, gathered all the common questions, that's.
I don't know if it was that specific text and response, but I know that at least one of the ones we looked at would have been changing our whole website.
Yeah, it wasn't an easy, it was,
yes,
yes,
it was not that,
Yeah, right.
it was.
and that's why I said, I think it was plus, like, you would have to pay you would have to take their website, but it was something that, and maybe they're using a different
Oh,
form.
you're talking about like a web chatbot.
But this was a text, this was, you
Yeah.
could text like, okay, I'm gonna text Lower Stafford at, I'll say the right number, whatever, it's 8087. It was something that, wasn't that number, but you text, okay. Here's Lower Stafford, welcome to Lower Stafford, text messaging, what can we help you with today? You could do it all hours. And then, of course, it would say, oh, sounds like, we did ask questions, one thing that we had feedback was to make sure at least their supervisor, they should say, hey, this is what we want on this. That if anybody had a problem, because one common thing, someone would say, hey, you know, I think my neighbor's house is smoking, you know, something like that, they would call 911, here's the link, but that was like the only feedback I remember. But I think you're right, I think it was a whole web page, and maybe that technology is different now, which this was years ago, how quickly.
I will say we did, when we were looking to transfer over to this website, we certainly explored things like Civic Plus, which had those capabilities. The difference being maybe this website costs $5,000 a year, whereas that one costs $20,000 or $25,000 a year. So
We definitely as a committee, I think recommended, no, as cool as it was, we're like, that's really expensive and I don't feel like recommending. So kind of stop there, but you're right, it was a fascinating concept, that's why I was just saying, I'm curious if you know offhand if it works. in Similar ways at certain hours that they're allowed.
I'll let you know next month.
Curious.
No rush on that one. But the reason I say that is, like Grace mentioned earlier, the phone is always ringing. And, you know, some of that gets moved into a text and you turn a 5-minute conversation into 30 seconds of, or even a robot doing it, like, maybe there is some value there.
Wow. Thank you.
Stacy, you had started to say something. and
I was gonna
interrupted
say-
you.
No, I was gonna say the same thing about, I didn't know that you had explored the website, and I was gonna say, could we do that on the website, have like a chatbot thing like you see on some other ones, so.
Okay.
Oh, it was all answered.
No, it's great for the discussion, future, I'll definitely bring it up, look for it, but I know I have records. I'm not sure if our meetings were recorded, but we might have.
But I agree, if it's way more expensive, it might not be.
Yeah,
worth
at
it.
that time,
Um,
we were.
It was just a cheap stuff.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
there might be an add-on that we could do,
And
that's
honestly,
cheaper.
even when we started Resident West Portal, like, I'm glad that it's still going, but when we did that, it was one of those things that we realized. We had Taser, all the communication proper channels were there, so when we suggested it to. Our Taser, the company that was running it, all they said, yeah, we could do that, we've done some similar things, and then a few other towns just picked it up. But I said to our manager, like, we were in this discussion. We hope like this doesn't become, hey, this is included in our price, it's included in what we have, and that's why we went away from everything else. I think we realized, wait, we had this opportunity, that might have been one less that. But yeah, now though, it's almost something that it's, unless it's easy to do, I'm not sure, but it's gotta be much more simpler, and I see things like that constantly.
Not as hard as it used to be.
Yes, that's a better way, not yeah, good to someone else. So fascinating, quickly.
Okay, so, do we wanna start this adventure in terms of picking a communication channel to kind of target next week, or not next week, next month? And pick one, brainstorm it. What are we doing with it now? How's it operating now? How do we improve user or resident use of it, et cetera? And just kind of take on each one thing, brainstorm with that.
That's a really good idea.
Was this?
I think, yeah, I'm open to whatever, kiosk is.
This is kiosk,
Right, kiosk is obviously, that's one thing we're going to be happening. I think even next month's meeting is going to be. You know, very much, we'll see what happens with that, survey all the market, you know, even feedback if, even with just somebody from the township can go, if anybody else can attend. A lot, hopefully more stuff. Actually, speaking of that, sorry, but are we going to, for the next market, are we going to have the survey there at the market physically and, like,
certainly.
Grace, what's our weakest communication?
Probably in terms of strictly numbers, I would say still the social media. But they're creeping up on constant contact, constant contact, I don't think has as many people following it as we would like. I think it maybe has just over 1,000, which
So let's talk about that the next month. So if we talk about kiosks. Wow, if there's some way that you can capture a number, how many people came to that through that QR code on kiosks. That'll be interesting.
Probably too late for that.
Yeah, I was gonna say, there is,
However, we can just check our stand, you know, how much traffic went to the website this month, that's business.
Right.
We can't assume, but you could manage that may observe it. Sorry.
And then we also talked about constant. Okay, that's next month. Any other questions, comments, any further quickly? Entertaining a motion to close.
Indeed.
Sorry,
I'll second the motion.
all right, second, all in favor?
us,
Aye. Opposed? So, still we're closed. You feel like.